Hey guys, it's Nine Flame, and today, guys, I will be giving you a review for DC Universe Rebirth issue number 1. I wanted to give you a review, guys, for this because it's been a long time coming. If you know, I came back from my hiatus. It should have been with this because this is a big book, 80 pages, $3. Let's see what I thought about it. This is going to be a pretty lengthy review because there's a lot to cover and spoilers will happen. And I'm pretty sure most of you have already been spoiled by the internet. These spoilers have been so hard to avoid. I gotta be honest, I already saw some spoilers. People were tweeting about it, and that is one of the negatives of the internet. You never know what you're gonna see. And I accidentally clicked on something, and it showed me some spoilers. But anyways, you still gotta read it. There's a lot to cover, and if you want to know everything in depth, get with me right now and let's cover DC Universe Rebirth. So as you can see, this is a pretty lengthy book, 80 pages. Geoff Johns is the writer for everything, but we have artists like Gary Frank, Ethan Ben Sciver, Ivan Reis. It's not Paul Jimenez. It's not. It's something Jimenez, Joe Brado, Matteo Santorelli, Brad Anderson, some Riot, High Five, and Gabe El Tayeb. So a lot of creators in this, and Phil Jimenez. It's Phil Jimenez. But yes, all these people are collaborating in the book. So now let's start off, and we're gonna open with the first page. So the first page is drawn beautifully by Gary Frank. This book takes place after Justice League number 50 and Superman 52, two books that you have to read if you want to know the full scoop, but they are addressed here heavily. So if you don't read them, you can get spoiled here. So I'm gonna give you a chance one more time to leave this video if you don't want to be spoiled. But let's get on with it. So this is opened by a first-person narration by none other than Wally West. He's talking about a clock that was handed down by his family, and it said never lose time. Every second is a gift, and you find out that he's lost in the time stream in the what's it called? The thing that they tap in, the flash. It's not the flash. It's something, but they with the speed force. He's tapped into the speed force. He's lost there. He's hoping to reach to the people here and for them to remember him so he can be back. And that's what it's all about. It's about Wally West. He's sensing something wrong and he needs help, and he needs people to notice that he is there out somewhere. So first he goes to Batman. It's interesting him trying to go to Batman. He's like, oh, Batman is the most important person in the universe, and he's the smartest person that can probably know what to do with me. So he does. Batman is pretty confused about this. He does not remember Wally, but Wally ends up giving him a hint, and that is, look at the card Barry gave you after Flashpoint, the one from your father. I'll give you some clues. And Wally is very alluding to Flashpoint. He talks about Flashpoint a lot, about how after Flashpoint 10 years passed, like that 10-year gap has been taken away. It has not been filled in, and that nobody knows what happened. The heroes who were all like experts have become rookies. The relationships have been destroyed, and he goes really in depth about this. But like I said, he goes with Batman first, and there are some hints here about that Batman picks up, but Batman does not acknowledge Wally, and Wally loses himself in the time stream again. And then he goes to another person who he's very attached to, and we find out that that person is this old guy who lives in this like nursing home. And we find out that this old old man is Jay Garrick, and Wally wants him to get back with the Justice League Society, and he needs them. And the old man, he is perceived as crazy by all his his peers, because he doesn't know what to do. He wants to run away. He wants to find the Justice League Society, but he really can't. And since he's old, people just treat him like crazy. Whenever he talks about something, people are like, "Oh no, this is nonsense." So this one was a really touching moment, and I will talk, after I tell you everything in depth on what I thought about this whole book. But yeah, a pretty touching moment. It leads to maybe the Justice League Society coming back. Then we have the Legion of Superheroes probably coming back. Wally is not involved in this, but it's a girl. who gets taken in by the police, and the only thing she has on her is this ring, the Legion of Superheroes ring. And this also alludes to the fact that they may be returning as well, which is interesting. I have never known anything about the Legion of Superheroes, but it's interesting to know that they may return one day, and that they might be soon. So that's pretty cool. But what I skipped, which was just a one-page thing, was that the Joker is not himself anymore. The Joker is not by himself. Apparently, there's 3 Jokers, and this is heavily addressed in Justice League 50, which is really interesting. So 3 Jokers exist, and I will talk about this as well. So then, if we're touching on, let's keep going. Then Wally talks about legacies and how a lot of legacies have been destroyed. The first legacy we see is Ryan Choi, and Ryan Choi is, I guess he's gonna become the new Atom, since he finds out that the regular Atom, Ray Palmer, is lost in the microburst, and he's fighting this war. And I guess, he basically tells Ryan Choi to basically become the new Atom. He tells him to put on the belt and come help him. And Ryan Choi has to decide if he wants to do this. So we see a legacy here. Another legacy we see is with Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle, Jamie Reyes is, trying to be trained by Ted Kord, because Ted Kord feels really attached to him. But Jamie Reyes doesn't know if he can control the Beetle. So this is really interesting as well. This Scarab, I think it's called the Scarab. So we see another legacy there. And lastly, we see a lot of hints, like Grail. She has Darkseid as a baby. So I haven't read Justice League 50 yet, but it's here. We see the baby, and we also get hinted that Wonder Woman has a brother named Jason who lives on the island as well. They were born at the same time, but nobody knows who Jason is, or we haven't seen him yet, I believe. Then we see Pandora being destroyed, and Pandora was the one who crafted the New 52, or we believe so. But she is killed in this issue with a very homage moment, which I will talk about later. But yeah, she is killed. That's another big moment. Then we see the Whites, which is the Superman family. They are visited by someone called Mr. Oz, who is talking to Superman, which is interesting. Where's that Mr. Oz page? Right here. We see, like said, people, but relationships get back together, like Black Canary and Green Arrow. They seem like they're attracted to each other, which is interesting. And then we see Wally trying to get back to the Earth to warn them about this war. And he tries to reach back to Linda, and we find out that him and Linda were married pre-New 52. They had an awesome relationship, and that Wally feels like she is a lightning rod. She is the person who he's most attracted to, and that she will always guide him back. And when he confronts Linda, Linda is right now a struggling writer. She doesn't have money. She is very, constricted in money, and she needs money now. So she's trying to cover this story of the death of Superman, but the people don't let her, and she is like, her life is sucking right now. And when Wally comes out of nowhere, she's like, I don't know you. And this completely destroys Wally, because Linda used to be his rock, and now she's not here. And this, is a very touching moment, since Wally is like, you know what, I'd rather die. I don't want to be here anymore. And it's all interesting. And we see a little flashback on Wally, and we find out that Wally, the New 52 Wally West, is the cousin of a pre-New 52 Wally West. I think it's the cousin. It's the son of Daniel, and Daniel was the brother of Wally West's father. So we see the West family there. And it's interesting to see that they're cousins. We'll see. I really want to see the relationship play out when Rebirth starts rolling out, but that's interesting. And let's see what else. And the touching moment in this issue comes when Wally meets Barry, and Barry at first is like, I don't know who you are, but when Wally's like, goodbye Barry, it was nice to see you, I'm kind of dying, Barry ends up helping him. He ends up grabbing him into the New 52, and they have a touching moment where Barry is like, how can I forget you? And before, I didn't really cover it, but they kind of give you the origin of Wally West in the past couple of pages, which makes this moment really touching. And this happens, Wally West warns everybody about what's to come, and Batman finds this in his cave, which leads to the big thread coming in DC, and that is the Watchmen. And that is where this ends. We see a lot of, little tidbits here. Like we see this big thing that is covering basically Rebirth and all the heroes that are going to be involved in it. A lot of awesome faces, like here, Wally West with a new costume. We know he's going to be part of Titans now. We see the Justice League Dark, it appears like in the back. So this might be new books that might be rolling out. So that book might be spinning off Rebirth. Other people who haven't really been covered is probably the Shazam family up here. They might have a book coming up. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's really interesting. Big Sin, maybe. I feel like Big Sin will be really heavily involved with the Birds of Prey, but we'll see. So this is really, really interesting. So yeah, this is Rebirth for you guys. I will give you my thoughts on it. But like as you can see here, Titans, Flash, Batman, Teen Titans, which I'm really, really excited for now. Green Arrow, that looks really cool, badass. Green Lanterns. That looks badass as well. And Wonder Woman, Aquaman. All these books coming up soon. Action Comics, Suicide Squad. And they will be here. So cool on that. So what did I overall think about DC Universe Rebirth? Let me give you my thoughts quickly, because I don't want this video to be tremendously lengthy. But this was an interesting book. It was really, really interesting, and it brought back to the hope of the universe. It brought back many people and many things that people were complaining about that was missing in the New 52. We see Wally West come back. We see relationships come back, as we see, I didn't show you a page, but Mera is proposed to by Aquaman to have marriage, which is kind of confusing because in the last issue I read of Aquaman, Mera was referred to as his wife, but maybe they weren't official. But anyways, in this issue, he tries to make it official. We see that love was lost, and love is coming back, hope is coming back, and all the heroes are basically gonna feel hopeful. I don't know what happened to Superman, but he's dead, so that's one of the big sad things, I guess. But everything after that will be okay. So this is kind of telling you, okay, so we missed legacies, we missed love, we missed relationships, we missed many new characters, but they're all back in this new, I guess, rebirth of a universe. I won't even call it a relaunch because it's not erasing anything. It's just bringing other aspects back in an interesting way. So many cool things happen here, like 3 Jokers. That's interesting, and I feel like that was heavily alluded in the Endgame storyline, where we see Joker appeared through history. So maybe these different personality Jokers, I feel like, because the recent Joker we have has not been as funny as he used to be. He's more of a menacing creature. Like, he's just completely crazy. I feel like he's one Joker. The other Joker who's just plain psycho, who's just, likes jokes and everything. I feel like he's another Joker. And we'll see who the third one is. But that's a really interesting aspect, that's coming up in Rebirth. Another one is the death of Pandora. Even though that wasn't a big scene, as I can show you here, it shows you that, I thought it was a really interesting scene because Pandora was depicted as someone who cannot die, and the person who killed her must have incredible power, because that's just something interesting. I don't know, that really took me by surprise here. Jason being Wonder Woman's brother, we don't know who Jason is, but that's a really interesting concept as well. Mr. Oz kind of following Superman, that's interesting. A lot of cool things. Wally West coming back, obviously that's going to be a big thing to cover up on. But yeah, I feel like that was a big thing, but Watchmen as a threat, I really want to see how this plays out. Interesting for Geoff Johns to bring them into the DC universe, but how will this play out? Watchmen has always been this very mature book, so how can you make them be implemented into this universe without ruining them as characters, not making them all PG and stuff. So this is really interesting. Very risky, but I feel like it will pay off, and I really loved how they brought Wally West back. Obviously, when a crisis event happens, a Flash is tied into it, and bringing Wally West kind of pleases both people, because we have the other Wally West and we have this one, so they're not forgetting about any of them, and I loved it. I really did. The whole lead up to it made it very touching. crazy things happen. It makes you excited for many of these books, and you really just want to get your hands on them soon. So yeah, it just it got me excited for everything. Even Red Hood and the Outlaws, it just got me excited because I feel like everything will touch on Rebirth, and this book was a really good book. I actually liked it. At first, I was gonna complain about how many artists were attached, but it makes sense because every chapter is done by a different artist, and each artist is unique at its own thing. Like they're all really good, and they play off each other really well. So I really did like it. If you have $3 to spare, buy it. It's an incredible book. I give it a 10 out of 10. It's just really good. It sets up for not a reboot, but a rebirth. And if you read this book, you'll know what it means for a universe to be rebirthed. Or I'm not sure if that's a word, but you know what I mean. But this book was incredible, and I'm not just saying that because everybody loves it. I read it, and I liked it, and I feel like it's really new reader friendly. I wasn't aware of Wally West. I wasn't aware of what he did or who he was before. But this book does a really good job on filling you up on who he is, and it makes you care about him. And in like 20 pages, I love the character, and every single thing he did was really emotional for me because I learned to like the character in those 20 pages. So incredible book. 10 out of 10, and I will stop talking about this book 60 minutes in. So yes, pick it up. So thanks for watching, guys. So like this video, also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and have a nice day, guys. Goodbye.